not only up to type 3, you guys got to hear this. So it's called the Kardashev scale. I'm on futurism.com, and this is awesome. So this is something developed by Russian astrophysicist Nikolai Kardashev. Fact check that last name. I don't know if I'm saying that right. He was looking for signs of extraterrestrial life within cosmic signals. It has 3 base class of energy disposal level. So type 1, type 2, type 3. I'm going to get to type 5 in a second because type 5 is the dopest thing I've ever heard. So a type 1 designation is given to a species who have been able to harness all the energy that is available from a neighboring star, gathering and storing it to meet the energy demands of a growing population. Michio Kaku, I believe is how tends to believe that all things taken into consideration, we will reach type 1 in 100 to 200 years. So we're like we believe we're like a 0.7 or something whack. Okay, next step up. Type 2 civilization can harness the power of their entire star, not merely transforming starlight into energy, not like just solar energy, but controlling the star. So that's where the Dyson sphere actually comes into.
Yeah.
Type 3.
I think Dyson sphere is like a bunch of satellites around like the sun.
It's a whole sphere that takes the entire sun over. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Type 3, where a species then becomes galactic traversers with knowledge of everything,
warp speed,
having to do with energy, resulting in them becoming a master race.
When are we going to become that?
I don't know. Go play the game Mass Effect. They've done it.
They figured it out.
And then a type 4 was too advanced and didn't go beyond type 3 on his scale, so he couldn't comprehend it.
What?
He thought that.
What's type 5?
I know what type 5 is. Okay, so it was a better.
Step 4, skip step 4.
Don't worry about it. Type 5.
Okay.
Exponential growth.
Type 5. The energy available to this kind of civilization would equal that of all energy available in not just our universe, but in all universes and in all timelines.
Multiverse, yes.
Boom, multiverse energy.
We don't even know if there is a multiverse, but there you go. You got type 5, though.
So this is just theoretical, right?
Yeah.
No, this is happening.
This is happening.
I mean, type 3 has obviously already happened, and that's why we don't see aliens.
God is type 5.
That's actually one of the theories of the Fermi Paradox. They say that there are type 3 civilizations. So you've got all the power of the universe. Now you don't need to travel around. You have everything
now you're just
you need.
Bored.
You just power up a super computer and make your own simulation. So everyone has their own universe. You have your own. He does. You do whatever the hell you want.
You get a universe.
Yeah, exactly.
So real. Let me understand this. So alien. Let's just call them aliens. Other civilizations. So they have reached these upper classifications of type on this Kardashev scale, right? So
Allegedly.
they're able to traverse between different timelines and different universes. So we're in this moment right now. All of us in this room are in this moment in time, right? So they're like flashing between different multiverses. They're like in different, and we're in just this point. And they're like,
damn.
Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
I think you only got what I was. I think everyone else.
Well, Ali's a big believer in multiverse, so he totally got it.
It's a multiverse theories.
It kind of makes me think of that movie Interstellar.
That's what I was trying to think of, like just going to a library.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm just going to go back 10 years. Like,
Yeah.
You know what?
Or it's not even go back 10 years. Every time is in front of you. You just go to it. There's no going back or forth. Everything is in the present. That's
one word I said wrong. I apologize.
Yes. What was crucial.
I will go.
He was all straight face about it.
I messed up. I'm off the podcast.
This is theoretical, of course, but if you think about it, we have first world countries, second world countries, third world countries. Don't we have like?
Oh my God!
Yeah, we have
civilizations.
we came from Stone Ages,
apes.
Basically, from Stone Age. Let's just go from the Stone Age to the Bronze Age, the Iron Age, and then basically, the Industrial Age. And then we still have countries that are still in the third world phase. They haven't become fully industrialized and fully
They don't have clean water.
Water
or electricity,
or sewage,
TV.
And it's not like sewage is something new. You know, the Romans had sewage
They're
systems.
taking dumps and holes. Come on.
And you know what's funny? We were talking about our concern for the environment. You know, we have nations came together for the Kyoto Protocol, and some of the nations that don't want to abide by these environmental regulations are third world and developing countries because they're the biggest polluters on the earth. And you know, think about it. Like, what options do they have? It's like, you know, get somewhere now. It's if you're thinking about it in terms of like, you guys have traveled to South Asia, right?
I have not.
You have not. Wow.
What do you mean?
I was born there, but I haven't gone back.
Okay, so but you've seen TV and whatnot.
Yeah,
so,
of course.
So those guys,
You've seen TV.
You know what a TV is.
What type person are you?
Type 3.
I feel like I have to say it because I don't have a TV. So you know, but I watch Netflix and stuff. So
Heresy.
Burn him.
burn him at the
Burn him on the cross.
Okay, just hold off your pitchforks for a second. But you know, this guy's pulling a rickshaw. The guy does not care one way or another where we're ending up in 100 years. He needs to eat today.
Oh,
Right.
yeah. Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so those countries are trying their hardest to meet their energy demands because it's like, hey guys, we're in the Stone Ages basically. At nighttime, they have blackouts.
It's not funny.
They have blackouts at nighttime. We're just trying to get electricity at night so these kids can do their homework and go to school the next day and not have to pull rickshaws like their generations before them.
Well, we need a Dyson sphere.
So eventually, eventually we'll get to that point. I mean, what I'm trying to say, it's not all doom and gloom. You know, look at the bright aspect of it. Like that wasn't so different here in the United States. We had child labor. We had kids. Slavery. I mean, think about that. We had women who couldn't vote. Half of our population didn't have a say in where we're going to go. Yeah,
that's like a 0.3 civilization. You're harnessing the energy of other people.
Yeah, exactly. That's a terrible.
Bad start.
Bad. You know, so here in the U.S., we and it just happened in the last 100 years. We've advanced so far. We were the biggest polluters. You know, we had gasoline as a byproduct. We just threw it away. You know,
Right.
so.
Hold on, Husband wants to say something.
Yeah, I was just saying. I think those countries feel like we're the ones being assholes because they're like, finally we figured it out, and now you're saying you want to change the whole thing.
Right? You can't change the game. We're just learning the game. You can't change the rules on us. You
We're
know,
just catching up.
yeah. So, but eventually we'll get there. You know.
So you know,
So once
if you really think about it, like how you were saying that, you know, people in the third world country are just worrying about just eating food now today, right?
Yeah.
So if you really think about it in life in general, it all comes down to energy, right? So energy being food and water, like so it starts with you,
Right,
so
right. You need energy. You eat
You need
food,
to keep the
convert
system
it to-
going,
Exactly.
and then it becomes then it all becomes how much energy sources are available to you, and how much do you have to work to get to it? Who's controlling those energy sources? You know, so there's
Corporations mostly.
yeah, depending on which region or part of the world you live in, some people have to grow their own energy, which is farming, or people like us, we pay for it. So, but we have to go work and we have to give our physical labor energy out.
Right.
In return, we get
To
a
exchange
currency.
commodity, yeah.
Then we give that. You know, it's all you know, transactions of energy. And when my sister was here from like London this past summer, I was just, you know, kind of explaining that to her, and it gets really barbaric if you break it down to the most, you know, desperate results. So, like, for example, imagine if the world, you know, goes into a like world, you know, like Walking Dead situation where there's zombies or whatever, right? So, like, I was telling her a scenario, like, imagine like in a barn, you know, it's just me and my family, you know, with her and her kids, and we're hiding from whatever, you know, could be Nazis, it could be zombies, whatever.
Nazi zombies.
Yeah, Nazi zombies.
Yes.
Oh man, those anti-Semite bastards.
We'll get them.
So imagine a scenario where we're hiding, and then we have a limited resource of energy, which is food and water. And each day we're using it and staying alive. And then imagine the time where it comes down to where I have one loaf of bread left. You know,
You become primal.
So yeah, when it comes to that,
You're reverting back to ape.
yeah, when it comes to that desperate moment, I'm not going to eat it. I'm going to give it to my daughter. I'm not going to give it to your daughter. I would want my daughter to live.
Exactly.
This is how barbaric we'll get when.
Exactly. I mean, it happened the other.
Failing. You're really selfish, bro.
Jeez, it happened. It happened the other night when we were running out of the Villa Palermo.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I got that last slice.
But that's how crazy, this illusion of life that we have, because we have so many abundant resources available that we don't think like that. But if you really think about a rough scenario like that, would you share that bread? Would you eat that bread? Are you going to sacrifice yourself, or are you going to sacrifice your daughter to give, your niece to live?
Yeah.
Like, how are you going to choose those scenarios? And it gets, you become barbaric.
I tell you what, in that situation, you finally figure out who the favorite kid is.
Yeah.
It wasn't me.
Right. So like right
I'd
now,
be dead.
we just have an illusion of life, and we just are living freely. So like we don't have to worry about these things. So it allows us to focus on things like moving the civilization forward,
That's
right?
right.
Whereas people in India or Asia that are more poor, they're currently
Africa.
Yeah, Africa. Their main resource is food and water. They can only think about this. They can't think about the future. Or how,
Yeah.
So
We here living in first world, just eating a snack. It was basically a snack. It wasn't like a meal, we needed to eat. We have the luxury of thinking about this and philosophizing, where those guys just don't care.
Right.
So then they're living day to day.
Then does it become a burden on our end, where now we have these resources, now we have the time to think and make innovation technologies? How can we bring these people up to speed? Is it not on our end to do that?
So you're saying, isn't it our responsibility to advance everybody else at the same time?
Right, because for me, like, there is no afterlife, right? So I feel like this earth is a living organism as well, and they're part of us too. And I feel we need to work together as a one. There should be one global.
Wait, do you mean like advancing us so that we can keep making headway, like figuring out what the next alternative energy is, or bringing the rest of the world up to speed?
Yeah, he's saying the rest of the world. So what you're saying is, like, we don't have to worry about our daily needs. We're not primal anymore, so we have time to dedicate to others now because we're so well off.
Right.
So isn't it our burden now?
It's our responsibility, right? So
sounds
if you
like communism.
It kind of does, but at the same time, if you think about that, if you're dedicating your time and resources to bringing the rest of the people up to speed, then who's innovating?
No, I mean, there's 7 billion people in the world, right? It's not like
So
one.
So
it
we
could
can't
be different innovation. So like, what are our problems right now? Is let's say it's energy, right? It's not. The energies that we have are killing us. So we need to solve that. So we got to go to clean energy. So once we get clean energy, how do we make it in a way like nuclear power plant that can power the whole world? You just need one of those,
Right.
So now everyone gets energy. So like the greed is not the driver. So if the greed is the driver, then this becomes like a premium energy source. Oh, hey Zohaib, like what kind of person are you? You're getting that energy, fossil fuels, but not
the
greed.
clean stuff.
Yeah, but I'm gonna charge you more for this.
Right.
Like organic food or whatnot. Like money always drives us.
I think what he was saying right now maybe was that if you have one section like us, right, now we're focusing our energy to getting those people that are behind up to speed.
Right.
So I think when you were talking about innovation, are you saying then if we're worrying about them, we're not moving forward ourselves?
Right.
Yeah.
So you gotta be continuously moving forward.
That's all fine and well, but okay, even if it was for us to move the rest of the world and bring them up to speed so they have clean energy and food, but what's the incentive for us to do that?
You can still make money. It's still an industry, but the upfront cost would be too much, and I would think that's where
what I mean. Yeah.
The governments have to get involved. The local governments over there should be spending some money on that.
People can argue that again for and against them. I couldn't care less. I would just think it's like, if you look at our history, we've constantly innovated, right?
Yeah.
And people are left behind, but eventually, even those people, it generationally shift. Let's say,
up.
the guy, going back to the guy who's pulling a rickshaw, he's busting his butt, so his kids don't have to, right?
Yeah.
So eventually, we'll come to a point where he'll get to a point where his kids are going to be educated, and they're going to move on to something less menial laborish. So it's going to be just basically generationally.
I do want to ask a question. Are you trying to say, and this, I guess I know you a little bit too, that capitalism drives innovation? Because I felt like in the beginning you were saying that, but I'm not sure, so I want to ask.
I couldn't say if it does, because communist countries have innovated too. So it's got to be a drive. It's like a collective drive.
Yeah, but I mean,
people.
In terms of innovation today, wouldn't you think American companies are right up there? Tesla with Elon Musk and Google. It seems like everything is coming from
Valley.
It's all capitalist countries. Like, what are the communist countries doing today? I mean, I'm really interested in
China.
that.
Well, yeah.
Well, other than China. I forgot China.
But China doesn't really innovate.
Yeah, innovation.
They imitate.
They made
imitate.
Exactly. Or reverse engineer.
They made gun
Reverse engineer.
If you look at it, there aren't any true communist countries left in the world anyways. Like, what, North Korea? That's not really, or
They made
communism
Kim.
hasn't really worked out on a large scale, I think.
Sounds like a good idea, though. On
It's
paper.
Utopian,
Ideally,
yeah.
So communist is what, like, everyone gets an equal share, right? Is that?
Everyone's
well,
happy.
that was the idea. It's a utopian society where the state controls. There's no free industry,
Oh, damn.
and so it's basically socialism to a level. So they say if you look at it even closer, there's differences between socialism and communism, but their main thing is no free industry. The state controls everything, and that way.
What's the benefit of that?
The benefit of that, they said, is that the state can determine if you're well off, then we can what's the word I'm looking for?
Distribute your
Distribute,
wealth, kind of.
yes, distribute it so everybody else is an
Benefits from it.
equal footing. But then it's like if you studied X amount of years to be a doctor or an engineer or whatever your Daisy parent wants you to be,
Right.
you studied your butt off, and if you're gonna get paid the same wage as a janitor, what's your incentive to go study?
That's
And
right.
even that it kind of sounds like what we're
Not that I'm down playing janitorial work. That's
Yeah.
God bless those guys.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, what's the incentive for you to work hard or innovate? If
There's none.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it kind of sounds like with what you're proposing, or not proposing, but like what communism is.
do.
But you're not proposing. But it's kind of like taking from the ones that are more well off and distributing that. That's kind of like what we're proposing for the entire world to be. Is like communist, almost like take what the U.S. is doing and now like distribute or what?
Yeah, but then
first world
so
countries.
the only issue with that that's why I asked who's innovating. So if we did that, if we put all of our efforts into it, then we're not putting any effort into innovating and moving forward.
I'm sure
Right.
there could be a solution. You could still have
Yeah.
capitalism, but you could
There-
have like a charity.
There
part
is
of it,
there
you
is
know.
a solution, by the way.
What?
So there's this idea of universal basic income, right? So everyone gets a basic income where you're able to take care of your daily needs, like shelter, food. So nobody's starving, so you get that. But people that are still innovating are still getting those capitalistic gains. If you're like Elon Musk, you're still profiting and you're going off on your passion projects. But everyone has that universal basic income to make your daily needs meet. So you're not worried about your just
Right.
survival.
So I was thinking about that. It sounds similar to like minimum wage,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
You make the minimum. So you put minimum wage at an X amount, and then
So
but the
people
thing
can
is,
live.
But however, minimum wage requires that there are jobs there for everyone. Whereas universal basic income, you get that
Regardless
income regardless whether you
of a
work or
job.
not.
I don't like that.
Why not?
I can't.
Everyone
Why?
has if you can afford it, everyone gets their basic needs met.
Okay,
we're
I
not
like
talking
that.
about money so you can go buy a Lexus, just so you can feed your family and food, shelter.
so
Buy
the thing
drugs if
is,
you
like,
want
how
to.
would you fund that? Like somebody's funding that, right? The guys who are
Tax.
working their
It's
butt
gonna have
off.
to be
Yeah,
taxed.
exactly. So it's some kind of a
Trickle
redistribution.
down effect.
Tax the billionaires.
Yeah, but there's
Tax at 1%.
But you know what else could happen? The economy, the market itself could catch back up. So it's if you are, let's say you put a minimum wage at a certain amount, at first it's working, everybody's finally able to afford something, and then
For something.
afford daily needs, necessities, and whatnot, and then you live in an area now. Everybody wants to move there, and now you have more people, less housing. Let's say the
Right.
rent goes up, and as that goes up, everything else kind of goes up, and now minimum wage doesn't cut it anymore.
Oh,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
like a cycle. So
and then you need to raise it again.
Yeah, exactly. And it happens. Look at inflation.
Yeah, you gotta catch up.
Yeah,
Everyone's Donald Trump.
Well, I was about to have something to say.
Here we go, guys.
I was saying in the conversation, but basically, when you live in society, there's actually cost to that as well.
Yes.
So we don't talk about that enough. There's a cost of crime. So poverty is actually a cost to society. That's why UBI, universal basic income, or the minimum wage makes so much sense, because we have to deal with that cost either ways.
Yeah.
So I think it's more humane, and it makes more sense for us too, if you want to just look at it, what's in it for you, to give those people something so they're not causing problems for you.
And since we're talking about innovation, there's the idea that if you have everyone with their basic needs met, that could lead to more innovation, because more people have time to think of ideas and not worry about survival.
I'm also worried about people being lazy. Like, oh, I'm going to get this anyway.
That's okay, though.
I think
that's okay.
That's a small segment. So what if 1 or 2% are lazy?
You're gonna have laziness regardless, right?
You have to look at the cost and benefit of it.
You're gonna have the yin and the yang of everything. So you can't say, oh, there's gonna be, no. I mean, there is already lazy people in this system and communist system, right? So
true.
So I guess that's a pretty good point, because how did we come to this point right now? Like we're all apes, right? At some point, right? So
some still are.
We're walking on all fours. At some point, we probably learned how to use a tool, and then when we innovated, we're trying to. I guess innovation is our way of being lazy. Think about it.
Yeah,
you know what?
Yeah.
Laziness drives innovation. How about that?
Wow.
Like
it's trying to make your life easier, right?
Yeah.